Your microphone's on mute.
Yeah, I just realized that. Good morning.
Morning. Morning. Okay. All right.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go off video. I'm picking up
Quick
some
question.
stuff for Carly. So
What's the DLE short code? You text DLE to so they can subscribe to our messages.
oh yeah, they what's it 77222? Text DLE to
Text the word
77222.
DLE.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Are you doing that for the sake of Miss Riverside?
Yeah, just new members. Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, she's already signed up. I talked to her 2 weeks ago about it.
Oh, okay. So she got the short code. Okay. Just making sure.
Yep. I reached out to her right before the last mastermind because I knew that she wouldn't have it. So
Got it. Okay, perfect.
there's nobody else in the new category. I pay attention to the who's opted in, and if we're missing anybody, I reach out to them. I try to chase them down to get on it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. She's a responder here. Okay, cool. Just want to know that. All right. Well, yeah, you don't have to. We'll see who pops in today. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Tony, can you hear me?
Morning, gents.
Hey, can you hear me? How you doing?
What's up, Anthony? How you doing, bro?
Oh, just working hard, brother. Working hard. How's everything going on your end?
Everything's going good. It's going. Actually, I just got back in town. I was out of town for about a week. So I just got back last night. So just getting back into the swing of things and following up, getting my shit together basically.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't know if you hit the video option or not, but it's not showing. Just so you know. But other than that, there he is. Okay, so yeah, were you able to get into touch with Moz for your VA?
You
Get
know
that
what? I haven't been yet. That's on my calendar for this week to get in
Okay.
touch with them to get the ball rolling on the service. So yeah, I got to find out more about that this week.
He's in touch with you. So the key is like what we've learned. So two things I want to, we got a few more popping in here. So two fun things I want to discuss today is Mr. Phoenix, how are you? All right, Mr. Huntington, can you hear me? All right. So I wanted to share this with you guys. So Mr. Chatsworth, we've been doing some brainstorming together, and he really wanted a digital version of the bulletin, which is understandable because print mail obviously is expensive. It's a numbers game and consistency, and it's another great touch, right? So what I wanted to just briefly talk about today are just a couple of things. So, for example, Miss Oceanside, the way we have the network wired up is it's perfect. The mothership is complete, right? All you have to do is basically, now that you have a VA that's going to consistently post, photos and videos on, your Google business profile, your blog is already taken care of by that team, and all the other social medias, you rise in the rankings extremely fast now, right? So, for example, Mr. Irvine, has the VA consistently posting for them. It's kind of like fuel for your airplane, right? And just to keep you going higher and flying higher, it comes down to the posting. That's all it is, right? But for example, Miss Oceanside, she hired the VA, and only after a month, she skyrocketed to every single keyword in the top three in maps, and she got a listing in Oceanside, and it's a good fixer upper that she's going to double end and relist and make 70 grand. So it's big money and it works. But unfortunately, she changed her business address to a service area, so it re-lowered it, and now we're re-ranking her. So but we're learning across the board. Even Mr. Irvine, he wanted to break into the top 3 in Google Maps if you type in Irvine real estate. And in the matter of less than a couple of weeks, he shot from nowhere, from the bottom 100 all the way straight to the top 3. So, I mean, it's
yeah, they're doing something right, because even right now we're not even too bad. I think, like, for Fontana, I think might be like 6, not quite in the top 3, but I know we're up there in the top 10. I want to say maybe like 6 or 7. So I think with this, that'll help. So I mean, what do I need to get? What do I need to get to them? Just pictures? I mean, they already know what to do.
Yeah. So if you guys Mr. Fresno, he's doing the same VA as you. I'm doing the same VA. You got to think of it like this. Like, it's kind of like how I'm a print broker and I get the print factories down on the magazine prices, down on the notepad pricing. I've done that in this whole virtual assistant, poster guys for us, right? And here's the keywords you want to dominate. So once you dominate, Fontana real estate, right? And then you become number 1 in that, Google's going to trust you, right? And then the second one you want to go for is Fontana realtors, because that's the most competitive keyword out of the 100 in your city. And then from there, no real estate agents are focused on Fontana appraiser, right? That's where I got 6 listings this last year just from being number 1 there, right? Because they'll perceive Miss Fontana Real Estate as a property management company, a real estate brokerage, a real estate agent, an appraisal management company, and it's just home runs, right? But when you look at it from a yearly perspective, if you're in the top, 3 of Google Maps or on the first page, you're going to, it's going to equate to a substantial amount of listings. You just have to go into 2024 ready to go and be there, right? So your life is simple. It's Miss Fontana and you're Mr. Fontana wearing the swag and just uploading content to the portal and letting them take care of it. That's all you got to do. So you just have to be Mr. Fontana. Monique just needs to be Miss Fontana. And this is where we're going to tie in your Google business profile with the digital version of the bulletin, which I'm excited because I'm doing an experiment for everyone, right? So let's talk about it. So your life is simple now that you got the VA. You live in Fontana. You're walking the dogs to the park. Do a quick video of it. Upload it to the portal. They'll take it. They'll launch it on the Miss Fontana YouTube. You're out to dinner. Take a video of it, right? Open up your Google business profile app, right? If you're at the local restaurant, take a photo, do a review. Miss Fontana loves this restaurant in Fontana. It's the best, right? So just keep that rolling. Make sense? All you got to focus on is content creation. That's it. And just have fun with it, You do that now, and with this VA, he's going to take the content And as you get busy in life, like with the holidays, you're on vacation, you know, you get 10 listings in your slam, you know, good things happen, bad things happen. You get busy, but the key is the VAs keep it rolling. Make sense?
Right. So then basically Monique and I, then we just got to get them the content, whether it's pictures or video. And then
You upload it to the portal or you email SEO a designated local expert, pictures and videos. You just keep shoving that to them. They take it, they do the injections, and they consistently post rapid fire for you. That's all you have to do.
okay. What about the blogs and all of that sort of stuff? They take care of that too, or
Yeah, you get 20 in general blogs, and then you get 4, 1 per week. That's the beauty of your membership. See, like the reason why we're outperforming every SEO company in the world, for example, most SEO companies for the service you're getting, right? They charge on average, the cheapest one we saw is 1,800, but the general fee is about 2,800 a month to be able to provide the blogs we provide. And here's why. Because the 4 blogs you get, they're non-AI, non-plagiarized, they're Fontana specific about real estate, and they have your keywords in it, right? So what the VAs do, if that immediately sees the internet for the first time, straight on your blog, the VAs take that content and your photos, then they create a post for your Google business profile, and then they'll post it on all the social media that's attached to it with the business name, address, phone number, and website. So it's just consistently doing that. And then, but the key is you're connected direct to DLE. We're because that's what Google wants. They want credible local content from a local guide. So we got the content and everything's wired up on the back end. All you got to do is just play the role. Does that make sense? Okay. And anyone has any questions, just jump on. But what I'm excited to kind of, share with you guys quickly, because I know you got a busy day here, is so some of our title reps, we had a lot of members asking, hey, how do we do a digital version of the bulletin, right? And so there's this platform, it's called Farm Genie, okay? And there's a lot of different Farm Genies, but I've done an experiment, and there's 2 things that I've done. And Mr. Chatsworth did it, and he's had a lot of success, and so have I. So with Farm Genie, they have like the most accurate data that you could buy. So for example, I purchased 5,000 Claremont homeowner email addresses, and they refresh the audiences like every quarter, right? So the data is 100% accurate, right? And so with these 5,000 Claremont email addresses, as a real estate agent, what do we have? An email database of our contacts. Maybe you send an email to your past clients. Maybe you send an email to listing leads. Maybe you send an email just to your sphere to stay in contact, right? Okay. Well, to take that to the next level, right? I use a company, they're called Service for Life. And it's just like this 4-page newsletter that they give you 1 time per month. But the beauty of the platform is I just changed the name, and I'm going to post this in the DLE Facebook group so you guys can see it. But here's the key. So there's MailChimp, right? And they can integrate with many different, whether it's Constant Contact, MailChimp, whatever, right? So I purchased 5,000 emails for $750. Not bad, right? 5,000 of them. Claremont homeowners that live in Claremont. And I plugged it into MailChimp, right? Then I got this platform, it's called Service for Life, right? And what it does is it creates a newsletter, and it allows you to type in, your client of the month and put in your call to actions, right? Like for 44 home money making fix-up tips, visit homevalueclaremont.com, right? But I changed the title of the newsletter from Service to Life to Claremont Bulletin, and it takes less than 3 minutes, right? I type it in, and I click the publish button. I mean, they have tutorials to show you how to do it. Then it takes the newsletter and it integrates to MailChimp. And all I did is click send, and bam, just like that, it sent out to 5,000 Claremont homeowners. And then if you download the MailChimp app, the beauty of it is it integrates with everything, right? It integrates with retargeting if you wanted to hit Google ads on these homeowners. It integrates with social media, just everything, right? But on the most recent one I sent out, it was actually surprising. I had a 25% open rate, right? So what we learned is, and Mr. Chatsworth had like a 40% open rate. And out of the 5,000 emails I sent, just one email, right? 1,000 Claremont homeowners opened it. They actually read it, and a lot of them clicked on it, right? Now I'm going to send another one. So out of the 5,000 emails, let's say 2,000 of them stick, right? That means I now have an audience of 2,000 Claremont homeowners that are opening the digital version of the Claremont Bulletin, and they see it's brought to you by Mr. Claremont. And everywhere it says, like in the newsletter, homeowners, I just make it specific to Claremont. So the subject line in the newsletter is, the Claremont Bulletin, right? Your Claremont Real Estate Pulse. And it's like, hey, click this link if you want your instant home value, and it leads to mrclaremont.com, right? But the key is it's another touch point, and the beauty of it is it's all digital. Does that make sense? I can show you guys how to do it really easily. Am I still going to mail my bulletin? Absolutely. Because I use it for open houses, door knocking. I mail it to past clients. But it's a powerful touch when I can pull up on my MailChimp app, right, and go to a business in Claremont, the best steakhouse, right, and say, hey, look, I'm the editor of the Claremont Bulletin. We have a digital circulation of 5,000 Claremont homeowners, right? And we mail our magazine to 10,000 Claremont homeowners every quarter. And, if you don't mind, I would like to barter with you. And I'll put my I Heart Mr. Claremont real estate sign in your restaurant here in the downtown. And as long as that's there, I'll take, an ad for your restaurant, a coupon or whatever, and just plug it in to the newsletter in your print mail. And now all of a sudden, you're going to start getting real life billboards put up all over your town. That's what I'm going to do, right? But more importantly, when I go to, it integrates with everything, because I'm going to send out about 4 emails a month. I want people to unsubscribe that aren't interested. That's great, right? And the reason why is because out of this list of 5,000, I'm going to keep slamming them with the Claremont Bulletin newsletter. And like I told you with my example, let's say 2,000 stick. Then you guys know what I'm going to do next? Mr. Fontana, you want to know what I'm going to do next? I'll tell you. I talked to Miss Redlands, and guess what? So a lot of other members are using HomeBot, right? So let's say out of these 2,000 Claremont homeowners, because the data you get from, this company called Farm Genie AI, that the title reps that were at our last in-person mastermind were there, they gave me access to it. They give you the address, their social medias, and their email account, right? So if I have an audience of 2,000 of them that stick with me on the digital version of the Claremont Bulletin, I'm then going to take those home addresses and emails, and there's another player in the game. It's called HomeBot. It's only $25 a month, and then I'm going to plug in all of their email addresses and all of their home addresses into HomeBot. So now every month, these homeowners in my Geo Farm are going to get the print version of the Claremont Bulletin. They're going to get the digital version, which is the Claremont Bulletin hitting their email once per month. And then HomeBot every single month is brought to you by Mr. Claremont, giving you a market update. So it's fully integrated now. And now I have an audience of this Geo Farm in Claremont where I'm consistently slamming these 2,000 plus Claremont homeowners. And if they're thinking of selling, who do you think they're going to contact, right? So I know it might sound overwhelming, but it's the evolution of geo farming and what we do. So I'm excited about it because, it's everything we do is layered on top of each other. But does anyone have any questions on that? I see George has got a hand up over here. Is that you, Mr. Fresno? Go ahead.
Yeah. So as far as how these steps are doing and how you're integrating all these things, you know, you guys have done a great job. I know Jeff has, and you guys have put stuff together. Do you guys have like a checkoff list that we can kind of follow to do the same thing and then network with the same people?
Right. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a template and I'm going to make it turnkey for you, right? Where it's like, hey, Mr. Claremont used Service for Life. Here's the website. Here's the explainer videos how to operate it, right? And I'm just going to leave the option to you, right? It's similar to how we had the whole foundation set for you. Like, look at Miss Mission Viejo. Like, I don't know if she's with us, but she's doing the DIY program, do it yourself, where she's consistently posting the metadata infused photos. And if you Google Mission Viejo Realtor, she's #1. She's following all the steps, okay? But if you don't have time, you got to get a VA, right? But the reason why this Service for Life, buying the data from, you know, Farm Genie AI and having Service for Life and MailChimp, I'm a real estate agent. I have to send emails to my past clients just to stay top of mind, right? But the beauty with Service for Life, it's really easy and it's turnkey and it integrates, right? So it's just about focusing on your geo farm and having multiple touch points, and it's just another option to you, right? But I will post, you know, in the DLE Facebook group and hit the add everyone button so you can see how I'm doing it, and I'll update you on my progress because I've only sent one email, and I did get a great response rate. And, you know, I'm planning on building that as much as I can because, you know, it's just only going to evolve as time goes on. But the beauty of it is what I really like the most about it is on one email, I already have over 1,000 Claremont homeowners that are opening it and didn't unsubscribe. And it shows you on the MailChimp statistics, like how much time they were spending, you know, reading the newsletter. And they spent like on an average of 3 to 5 minutes, which is huge, right? And so when I plug in another platform like, you know, HomeBot, where it's just another touch point that sends them a monthly, you know, home value equity analysis and all this stuff, you know, it's powerful because it's multiple touch points and taking everything we do digitally as well. But hard print is always the best because it's tangible and it's there. But I'm just letting you guys know an experiment we're doing that's proving to be very successful. So does anyone have any questions on that? Mr. Fresno, you just want clear instructions in case you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be working on that. And so for some of you, I see, okay, Mr. Tustin's with us. You know, for example, look at Mr. Chatsworth's version of door knocking. He door knocked his neighborhood and invited his neighbors to a pancake breakfast, and he got 2 multi-million-dollar listings from it. That's huge. And the guy is 65 plus old, currently has cancer, and he doesn't need to be out there, but he needed to get his steps in for his exercise and figured, why not? So what the point is, whatever you do, just stay consistent with it and just pick and choose how you want to leverage. Right? So with, you know, the point is everything that I'm going to tell you, right, is everything I do in my Mr. Claremont Geo Farm, it's all about complete vertical integration. Why do I love this digital version of the newsletter? It's because I can control it from A to Z, right? It's not like I'm buying local service ads and it's like an auction and me competing against hundreds of other agents trying to outspend them, right? So the key is to pull them into your world. So I will, you know, closely keep tabs on it, but it's another exciting touch point. And, you know, I'm really going to hit it hard this year with doing the We Hard Mr. Claremont, you know, billboards. And I am going to take the Claremont Bulletin from print to digital. This is how I'm doing it. And then I'm also going to door knock all the local businesses. And I'm going to just say, hey, I'm going to get you a free ad. Email me some shout out. And I want to put my sign up. And I'm also going to do it at my daughter's school. And I'm going to do it everywhere. And what's going to happen is, you know, it's going to be equivalent to Mr. Claremont having 50 billboards up in the town. And then I'm going to buy another 50 because when the local listing agents go and, you know, pull them out of the ground and swoop them or whatever. I'm just going to keep replacing them. And that right there is complete vertical integration. That's true power. So if anyone has any questions, anything on your mind, just go ahead and shoot. But
yeah, I got something, Anthony.
Yep.
You know, looking at the keywords and the stuff that we're trying to hit on with our SEO, I'm just kind of thinking outside the box, about hitting, because there's three ways that we would always get a listing. Three situations in people's lives: death, divorce, bankruptcy are the three primary areas. I'm wondering if we should also add in SEO keyword search in those fields, because if we're in the top searches in those areas, I think it elevates us faster.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Mr. Huntington Beach. That's genius, because here's the thing, though.
And it's no matter what market's in, up market, down market, side market, those three situations, they have to sell. And I think that's, if we hit upon that's going to be just going to catapult us on our SEO.
Death, divorce, and bankruptcy. Here's what I'm going to do. Because here's what I've learned, right? Again, for death, divorce will be local, and bankruptcy, especially on the death one, usually the relatives live outside of California.
Yes, correct.
They're 99% out of state, and 99% of the time they're going to Google, a keyword. Well, what I'm going to do is I'll triangulate with the SEO team and Google Bard and figure out what are the most competitive keywords for real estate agents in the city of Huntington Beach. What do people search when, they're getting a divorce to find a real estate agent? Believe it or not, Google Bard will tell you. Then the SEO team can plug it into a platform called SEMrush, and then they can get the actual data on, how competitive the keyword is. But in order for that to work, Mr. Huntington Beach, you would have to, because again, there's city, county, state, nationwide, and international searching. You would have to be at the top, like Mr. Claremont is, right? Like, for example, thinking outside of the box, I kept preaching the keyword appraisal, and I get people that are Googling in New York or Florida, and Mr. Claremont's right there. Right. So you would have to dominate that keyword pretty heavily. And you're right. I mean, if, let's say, divorce real estate agent or bankruptcy, we could help you. I'm going to start thinking of those keywords.
Yeah.
If you just hit the metadata infusions on that keyword, and you told the blog writer from web development at SEO, right, to make all your content about that, then you'll rank super high and fast. That's genius. It's figuring out the keywords that all our competition isn't fighting over, right?
Yeah.
That's the key.
And I've been playing around with this website called answerthepublic.com. So you just insert a couple of keywords in here, and it'll tell you what's the question, phrase, etc. on Google and YouTube, and I think Bing's the other one.
Right.
But I was just kind of playing around with it, because I know that those three areas, and I just been making blogs on my LinkedIn and sending it to SEO team to add to the super blog as well, because I think it just it'll just add more. And I think being this time of year, divorces will pick up after the new year. Bankruptcies, everything else, everyone wants a delay to January, and I think those are key events for a lot of people.
Right, because Mr. Huntington Beach real estate, again, what we've learned is they don't, like, if you just had Conrad with EXP, they just perceive he's just a real estate agent. But Mr. Huntington Beach real estate could be perceived as, like, on the services, like, bankruptcy specialist. How can I help you? Right. Let me help you save your home. And if you can't save it, then I'll sell it. Right. did someone in your family die? I'm an expert at, helping you not go to,
Probate.
the courts and going through that whole process, right? So that keyword would be
How to avoid probate.
probate. There you go. That's a powerful key. How to avoid probate, right? And then we would have to start looking into all the probate keywords, right? And Mr. Huntington Beach real estate could be a probate expert, right? So we would have to ask Google, and then what's that website you use?
Answerthepublic.com.
Okay, so probate's going to be a good word. Probate.
You get 3 free
Answer the
searches
public.
per day on that site.
How many?
3 free searches on that site per day.
Okay, I'll plug it into SEMrush, but I think the key word we're looking for is probate, divorce, and anyone that dies out of state, they simply search out for a real estate agent. They're looking for realtor assistant.
Trust sales, probate.
Yeah, trust sales. That's a good one.
Yeah, trust sales, probate, bankruptcy, divorce are going to be I think it's have to sell pretty much, because once you get into court,
See, a lot of those people, the reason why I kill it on appraisal is they have to get an appraisal for all those categories. They have to do the historic appraisal.
So you want to beat them up to that point.
Because think about it, the story I told you, okay? Mom and dad live in Claremont, but then grandma and grandpa died in Claremont. But the people that were on the trust were not the mom and dad in Claremont. It was 2 daughters that lived in New York.
Right.
Then they talked to their trust attorney, and they're like, hey, you're going to have to get a historic appraisal, right? And then I dominate the keyword historic appraisal or appraisers historic appraisal in Claremont, California. When they typed that in, Mr. Claremont Real Estate came up. They called me, and I'm like, yeah, I'll send you to an appraisal on my appraiser on my team. But then I asked more questions. Why are you selling? They're like, well, my grandma and grandpa died. The probate, we don't want to go to probate. It is in a trust. And before we sell, we need to, do a historic appraisal. I'm like, oh, you're selling. And then that's when I dove into, let me get in there and do the appraisal myself. And then it was just a listing appointment. So that's why I think I kept preaching appraisal, because I think that's a base to all those categories.
Yeah, I think it's complementary to those categories, even with bankruptcies and divorce, because with the divorce you have the buyout situation. And I have a fantastic lender out of San Diego. He's a divorce professional, and he talks about how none of the attorneys, none of the judges, as far as the buyout situation, a lot of times the spouse that lives in the property can't even afford the mortgage on the current property. So he actually has that conversation with them to see if they qualify, and says, well, I can't have you live in the property because you can't even afford to pay the mortgage, and it's going to hurt the other spouse.
Another thing, I've had lenders contact me. It's interesting. They're like, hey, how do we do SEO like you and DLE does? You could throw in lender keywords, right? Because you got to realize this too. Mr. Huntington Beach Real Estate is perceived by the public as like you as the individual, but a massive umbrella, right? So Mr. Huntington Beach Real Estate could include, maybe you throw in the spin reel, like what would someone getting divorced try to figure out? Like a refinance to get the spouse off title, right? Because these lenders, they're not in the Google business game. They just hound us real estate agents and beg for business. That's their life, right? So why not go to the tip of the spear? Because what have we learned? It's 100% legal and compliant if, let's say, you leverage your profile, and I'll try it out too. Let's say Claremont lender or appraisal or refinance, those 3 keywords, right? And if you get a lead where someone's like, hey, I'm looking to refinance or whatever, like, yeah, this is Mr. Huntington Beach. I'll have my lender call you right now. He's on my team. And if that lender then intervenes and they're trying to do some sort of, maybe the keywords, refinance, I'm getting a divorce. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But something that I've never thought about till now is dominating lending keywords, especially refinance. Because let's say Let's say they're doing a refi and you pop it to your lender, they could give you a 25% rev share legally to support your marketing efforts.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Hey, Anthony.
Go ahead.
Hey, that's a good point. Sorry if it's a little loud. I'm at my daughter's school, but I've been asked lately. I've been talking to a lot of neighbors and door knocking more, and I've been asked a lot like, what is Mr. Tustin Real Estate? Is it a refinancing company? I've been asked that before. I've been asked that basically they don't relate it to simply a real estate agent, but they also relate it to what else do you have in your toolbox. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's power. I mean, at the last mastermind, that's why I handed you the most updated DLE book. It says on the title, the most powerful personal branding in the real estate industry. It literally, besides the digital, what we're talking about in real life, it's interesting. They perceive you as like public figure, celebrity, and this wide range of services you can offer, right? And they just know it has to do everything with real estate and lending. That's the beauty of it, right? Because if they're not going to sell, they're going to refi. But the key is controlling the leads. Because if you could divvy it to a lending partner, and then they'll support you with a 25% rev share, which they should be doing, right? With deals you're pumping their way, it's power. So that ties in with what we're doing. And yeah, you know, but the key, for example, like today with door knocking, since we're talking on that, you know, I'm launching 2 listings in Claremont today. But what I always like to do, even like I'm not having an open house anytime soon, but when I door knock, I just knock on the door, you know, because we have, you know, I'll send her the recording, but we just pulled on Miss Riverside. And they keep asking, well, what's the door knocking script? Like she's hungry, motivated. It's not a script. It's a conversation, and it's simple. If you have a bulletin magazine in hand, that's valuable, right? So all you have to do is knock on the door. You just say, hey, it's Mr. Tustin with EXP. You know, I don't care if you have the listing or not. Just say, hey, one is coming soon, or I just listed one on Banana Street. Wanted to invite you to the future open house coming up. Did you have any questions on the community or real estate while I was here? That's all you got to say. Look at Mr. Chatsworth. If you're at their door inviting them to something, that's powerful because they know you're a real estate agent by the way you're dressed. They see Mr. Tustin. It gets rid of the reflex no. Their sales guard drops, and you have a free-flowing conversation, right? And so when you're out there, Mr. Tustin, you know, I think you have the Tustin bulletin, correct? You still with me?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry,
You're
I
here?
was just grabbing some napkins. Yes, I'm working on the bulletin. I don't have it yet.
Yeah, because what you got to realize, okay, even if you don't have a bulletin, I don't care if you have a postcard. Just invite him to something, an open house or, you know, one of your listings coming soon, whatever it may be, right? But if you're perceived as a local public figure dropping knowledge, see that what you got to realize, Mr. Tustin, when they see Mr. Tustin, you know, they know you know everything. You're perceived as like this credible information source. When I'm out there, you know, doing my thing, you know, they'll ask me about city politics. They'll ask me about all sorts of stuff. But the key is I'm approached. They feel comfortable looking through their little door hole and they're like, hey, there's Mr. Claremont. You know, he can't be some guy that's trying to rob me or I'm gonna open the door. That's what you want, right? You want when you rock Mr. Tustin, the open door rate increases 10x substantially, right? And
Yes,
you just have to be ready for it.
I'd like to add something. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had an event for my daughter's school. So I invited all 900 neighbors and I was wearing my Mr. Tustin shirt and hat. I actually got invited into 4 homes. They gave me the tour of the home and told me about the neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera. So it has a lot of power to it. So I just went the cheap way. I don't have the material for myself, so I leveraged the school, but I went wearing my Mr. Tustin gear.
Oh yeah, no, listen, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like with DLE and your designation, there's so many ways to leverage it, but just keep it simple and you leverage it to have conversations with local homeowners. Mr. Huntington Beach, you still with us? Because
Yeah, I'm still here.
let's tie it back to what we're talking about here, right? If you hit them with digital, print, and in person, it's powerful. And think about this, ranking high on keywords on Google, it's digital door knocking, because 95%, even when they get the mailer or my email, they still Google realtors in Claremont to see who else is there. And if you land on the top 3 again, it's done. They're like, this guy's everywhere. Oh, and I saw his sign out there on the house he's selling, right? And you don't have to have that many touch points, because what I've learned is even some of my competition that literally has like 10 or 15 signs up, they've been here since the 70s crushing it, and they spend like 70 grand a month on marketing. Literally the top 5 best agents in the Remax network out of 150,000 agents, I compete against every day, the best in the world, right? But the only sign they remember is Mr. Claremont. And I might only have 1 and they have 10 up, but that's all they remember. But the key is to ranking high. Mr. Huntington Beach, you're right. If someone dies or has a divorce, they're going to try to figure out, this is genius. We should dominate lending keywords, because I know no agent right now is going after appraisal. They're not going after refinance. I'm not even doing that. I'm curious who comes up when you Google, lender near me in your city, or, refinance company, stuff like that. Because the beauty of the perception is a lot of people still want to talk to an individual, right? They want to talk to Mr. Huntington Beach. So yeah, it's, but just remember this, Mr. Tustin, if they want to refinance, write down their name and number and kick the bone to your lender and collect a referral fee. That's money. And then if you help them and the lender does a great job, maybe they'll refer you out to someone else. So this is really good, knowledge that we're coming up with here. We're going to have to learn, what are the lending keywords, maybe even escrow. Shoot. Mr. Huntington Beach, what do you think about dominating escrow company keywords, lending company, appraisal, right? Because I've had it where they're like, yeah, I want to sell to, I don't know, my kid, and I just need an escrow company. Or what if we start controlling more escrow business and referring it to escrow partners that kick you a 25% rev share because they just want to refinance? They will perceive Mr. Tustin Real Estate, Mr. Huntington Beach Real Estate as an escrow company. They'll perceive you as a lender. They'll perceive you as an appraisal, right? But when you get this information, you're kind of wholesaling information, right? And that's what you got to be in the business of doing. Make sense? Mr. Huntington Beach, does the idea of a digital Huntington Beach bulletin excite you?
Oh yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea, especially the, putting in "I love Mr. Huntington Beach" sign in a bar as an advertisement. I think that would be great. I think I think I'm kind of looking for something like that myself. So, but yeah, the digital bulletin would be great. I know I can get a lot of emails. So.
Right. See, like, here's my data on MailChimp. You can't really see it. I'll post it, but it just shows you like, hey, I sent the Claremont bulletin out and it opened up. The key is this. Let's say you go to a bar and you click on, recipients. It'll show like, hey, I have right here, and you can just pull out on your iPhone, just like I do on a listing appointment with all the buyers I get from the short code system. I show them, hey, here's 600 plus buyers subscribed to Mr. Claremont looking to buy in your city. You're a homeowner, right? You want a buyer? I've got 600 right here, right? The same with the MailChimp. It's powerful because if you went to the bar and you're like, hey, I'm Mr. Huntington Beach. I'm a local guide on Google, right? So I'm going to leave you a review, and I have a wide audience because I'm a lifestyle brand in Huntington Beach, right? I also have, a digital magazine called the Huntington Beach Bulletin. And if you could show them on your iPhone on MailChimp, you have 5,000, Huntington Beach homeowner addresses, and you want to, sponsor them, they're for sure going to do it. A, it doesn't cost them anything. B, it's not like it's a cheesy ad like, Conrad, Realtor, selling your home, calling me, my phone number. They wouldn't want to post that up on the wall, but you're now iconic. Look at your logo, right? They're gonna for sure. We love Mr. Huntington Beach. He's marketing for us. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, so I'll share with you personally when we connect next all those details. I'm gonna do a really big, post in the DLE Facebook group and give you clear instructions on how to do it. But it's really simple, and it's just like everything else. If you stay consistent with it, because it is turnkey, it's like they populate the newsletter, you type a few things, you click submit, and it uploads to your account and fires off. It's like really easy to use. And the key is if you download the MailChimp app, you could just, walk around town and easily push it out, Okay, so that's good to know you like that. But you're right. What we need to do is explore more about these other keywords that people will search prior to their steps of locating a realtor. And it's going to be how to avoid probate. It's going to be, escrow companies and lending keywords. And I think if we start getting an uptick in those phone calls and we're able to leverage, business other ways, we can collect massive referral fees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Anthony, I was just thinking right now, you're talking about lending and all these other things. We we partnered up with some solar partners of ours where we're going to be getting kicked back 50% of these, and they're pretty decent. They're pretty good. Some of these solar commissions are not bad. So I was just kind of thinking, I wonder if there would be a way to plug that in. I mean,
Genius.
somehow, right?
Because what you got to realize is this. Here's what we now have, right? Because 2024, we're going to focus on expanding and bringing members into the fold, because I've got the SEO down to a science. But you're so right. If you plug in a keyword into our system, I don't care if a solar company is spending 15 grand a month on trying to dominate that keyword. Miss Fontana Real Estate will outperform because we're all interconnected, right? So all the metadata infusions I do and every other member and all the backlinking, we have 125,000 landing pages backing your landing page that's connected to your profile, transferring all this link juice and blog juice. So if you just plugged into the portal, solar companies in Fontana, they will perceive Miss Fontana Real Estate as a solar company, and I guarantee you'll get calls. And maybe they're like, yeah, well, we're thinking about doing solar because we're fixing up our home to sell. Who knows, right? But then if they want to do solar, just like my keyword appraisal, I still get a few $100 by referring it out. How much would they pay you in a referral fee if you gave them a solar job? Do you know? Have you ever done one?
Yeah, I mean, on average, yeah, it could be about 25, it could be, a couple grand, 2 to 3,000 each one. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And it'll keep the ball rolling. So, I mean, that's powerful. That's another one. Solar company. I like it. Yeah. I mean, I would again just, if you email because you have your SEO assistant, you could ask them, say, hey, how competitive is this keyword, in our city? You downloaded the app, WhatsApp, or you email them, and they'll plug it into the SEMrush platform and they'll let you know. And then you just throw it into your spin reel and remind them in the portal that you want that keyword. And that's a whole other angle. I mean, it's in our industry, and Miss Fontana Real Estate, has all the best connections for contractors, for solar panel people. You want to refinance. At the last mastermind, Mr. Huntington Beach, you still with us? The beauty was, if you Google right now, commercial real estate in Claremont, Mr. Claremont Real Estate's at the top. And I do get a lot of people that are looking for commercial leases or stuff like that. But this is a really good way to think, because if you want to have a commercial real estate brokerage, you just plug in the keyword commercial real estate. If you want to have a solar company and refer out leads and get a referral, or an escrow or probate. Those are great keywords to throw into the mix because I haven't even thought of that. And I know that our competition isn't.
Absolutely. And especially if we do get into a situation where it's a low inventory and everyone's fighting for that listing, like I said, these are the areas that must sell. Some of these agents might be, appear as bugging too many people, I would say. But if we're gaining this market share, I think it's great.
Right. So I think the basic strategy is this, guys. First, dominate your keyword city name real estate. And once you dominate that, you can still go after like Huntington Beach Realtor or Realtors, right? But then I would go for like appraisal. I would go for, property management, probate specialist, how to avoid probate, solar company, escrow company, refinance, because no other agent's doing it. And they can't really do it because why? If your Google business profile is Anthony Grinshaw with Remax, and if they Google that keyword and see Anthony Grinshaw, they're only going to perceive me as a real estate agent, right? It's a perceptions reality business. And what we've learned consistently from all members is they perceive, Miss San Francisco real estate as this just a massive operation that has multiple vendors of everything, right? So it's really a great way to leverage it out.
When I started looking at that list you guys sent us, you had it in the Facebook thing. It was a quick update. We're updating words for Meta and Fusion to achieve the best possible results from the operation. And you guys gave a list, like a priority type list. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah.
And so I started going through, and I haven't finished all of them, but I'm inputting them into like a spreadsheet. That way I can kind of track. But there were quite a few just in the top 15 where there's nobody there. Like there's only one agent. When you Google it, like if you Google Fresno real estate market, there's only one guy there. So how easy would that be to take that over?
Easy.
In a short amount of time? Because
that's what we see. We're constantly learning from the product experts and Bard. Hey, what are they Googling in the real estate? You could ask Google Bard list because that's Google's AI, right? So he will tell you. And remember, we had guys pay, to infiltrate Google Bard. Google Bard knows who you are. That's why everyone's we have Google Bard working for us. Don't forget that, right? So,
that was really cool because I asked Google Bard, who is Mr. Fresno? And it listed all this information about me. It was kind of twisted.
Yeah, I dropped a lot of dough on some, software developer to just, because it's still under development. Think of Google Bard as like a genius baby that's growing. And if he likes you and knows you and you build rapport with him before he becomes an adult, we've really hacked that angle. So you could say to Google Bard, hey, ask him the questions we're talking about. And yeah, we could dominate those ones quickly. And if nobody's dominating it, on a local level, you could quickly dominate it on a global level, the keyword. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of those keywords were new to us. We're like, wow, but Google Bard tells us these are what they're searching, right? And if anyone knows, definitely Bard knows.
Well, I think even one of them was like, instead of it was supposed to be the Fresno real estate market, and it brought up the Fresno meat market. So the Fresno meat market is a butcher shop, and they sell great food, but they don't sell houses. So yeah, it's kind of cool to see.
So what this really comes down to is indirect marketing, right? So if we could indirectly figure out what keywords people are searching and it's somehow tied to our industry, solar, refinance, probate, all these things, and we can control that business. Well, Mr. Fresno's a marketing company, just like Mr. Fresno is getting all these marketing checks from an escrow company mailed to him because he's directing escrow business as Mr. Fresno marketing company, right? That's why I keep preaching this because, it just becomes a lot of really good revenue streams. So that's really interesting. Mr. Fontana, I love that idea with the the solar angle, that's a good one. And yeah, my mind's spinning, and I'm gonna definitely research it all. But I encourage you to even run it by Google Bard. So Mr. Fresno can say, "Hey, you know, Bard, this is Mr. Fresno, your friend with the DLE network. I have a question. How many people are searching, you know, um, appraisal in Fresno, California to find an appraisal management company?" And he'll give you some answers. And then you could also ask the SEO team to plug it into SEMrush, and they'll cross check what Google Bard is telling you. So going into 2024, all you got to remember is if you're consistently, you know, meta infusing these and posting, and you have a VA doing it for you, you get slammed to the top super fast. But what we do know for sure, you dominate your city name real estate first, and then you could snowball and start dominating these indirect ones. And then from there, go after, you know, your city name realtor or real estate agents, right? But I'll figure it out and do a whole other list of, you know, because that list we gave you, George, was there's long tail and short tail keywords, because you can't forget generative AI is here. So the long tail keywords all apply to like Siri when you're asking, because the future of searching is just people talking to AI, asking questions like, "Hey, can you pull up a list of the top real estate agents in Claremont?" And it's just going to list 5. And those are the long tail keywords. So no, those are great ideas, guys. Really good. Trying to think what else. Yeah, the solar angle is a big one. Yeah, these lenders, and what I've learned, people don't really, I mean, if they're seeking out a lender, they'll just type into Google. I mean, you can pick up a lot of like refinance, because think about it. If they're trying to get a loan or refinance, they might refinance a property to go buy. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's just a whole other, you know, realm that we're gonna have to explore. Let me pull up the chat here.
I mean, if you have a conversation with that person, I think that you're the key to whatever happens. You know, hey, I'm refinancing it because I have a buyout, or hey, I'm refinancing because, you know, I have a bankruptcy, or whatever the case may be. You know, then the conversation is, well, what happens if you can't refinance?
Right. And then it's just like, well, you know,
what if you don't qualify?
Right. Right. But I think the key to everything else is just coaching them. Like Mr. Huntington Beach is, you know, Huntington Beach, you know, real estate wealth management expert. Remember, that's the core. When they say, "Why are you Mr. Huntington Beach?" Well, I'm a Huntington Beach real estate wealth management expert. And it encompasses, like your logo, the circle, property management. I can guide you. Remember the lady at Farmers at the Mastermind? Shoot, what about that keyword? Remember how many people are tripping out trying to get homeowners insurance?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a whole other category. I don't know, you know? But the key is, like, the farmer's agent needs who? You for the business, right? And when they perceive you as the public figure that gives the reliable information, and you're a wealth management expert for the city of Huntington Beach, well, I'm sure you know a good farmer's agent, you know a good lender, a refi, how to avoid probate. And when you're perceived, I think at the end of the day, that's how you're perceived, right? And if we start dominating all these keywords that no other agents are thinking of, and it relates to your phone ringing and having real estate conversations, that's huge. And I think the easiest way to consistently shell out the Huntington Beach Bulletin is going to be the digital route, right? And maybe these title reps, right? If you say to them something like, "Hey, I'm Mr. Huntington Beach, you know, how much Huntington Beach homeowner data can you get me from Farm Genie, and I'll throw you a title order," I'm sure they'll pop you a few thousand contacts.
Yeah,
right?
my title guy could get me 5,000 just like that.
Perfect.
So that's not an issue. And even phone numbers.
Right. So why not create that database? And I guarantee you, Conrad, like Mr. Chatsworth, he goes, yeah, a lot of them saw the Mr. Chatsworth car. And then when I sent my digital version of the Chatsworth Bulletin, he goes, it was a massive success. And the reason why was because they've seen it and it sounded familiar. But his subject line on every one of his emails is preserving the Chatsworth lifestyle. So if you say in your subject lines in these, for the digital version of your city name bulletin, and you live in that city, you're going to be like, yeah, I want to preserve the lifestyle of my city, whatever that means. But they're not going to hit unsubscribe, and then maybe you just do a blog on Mr. Huntington Beach. That's the calendar of the year. Just go, how many people are putting out Huntington Beach calendar events? Just copy that whole calendar event, throw it into Chat GDP, and do a blog post. And when you do your digital version of the Huntington Beach Bulletin, say, click this link to access the year's calendar for Mr. Huntington Beach real estate. There's all the community events in Huntington. And now you're pulling up from your e-newsletter to your website to shoot your SEO through the roof. So there's all these things that can stack on, but you just want to keep it simple and stay consistent, right?
Right.
So just don't forget that piece of it. So, wow, this was a great brainstorm. So I got some homework to do for us now. But no, I like the way you guys are thinking because, the solar angle is a big one, and but in a way, we've just positioned ourselves to be basically powerhouse brokers, and if we could control, these keywords when people are searching and filter it through us and refer it out, I mean, it's just going to really substantially add up and, tie in with in a complete vertical integration, meaning you're controlling the flow of the leads. So I will definitely look into that. Mr. Fontana, just be sure you get directly connected with your VA and just feed them the content, and they'll get you ranking high and fast. We've got it wired up in an unbelievable way, and basically no one's going to be able to outperform us. So I keep thinking on these creative keywords. I really like the direction we're going with that, and I'm going to post a good tutorial on how I'm doing this digital version of the bulletin. I'm going to launch another one today, and I'm going to get out there and hit a few hundred. I'm going to launch my new listing.
Jeff Bannon.
Yeah. Jeff, you got something to say?
No.
Okay. All right, team. Well, I think we're going past the hour here. Yep, it's 11. Let me see. Love this conversation. Mr. Fresno just shot his first commercial. Mr. Huntington Beach, I'm excited to see the way that comes out. We're getting pumped up here. My goal is simple. It's to make Mr. Fontana, Mr. Huntington Beach jealous and want to do their commercial. Okay.
Definitely.
The commercial to the Let Me Sell Your House movie. Woo!
On Netflix.
Mr. Huntington Beach, it's another good way to get your name out there. I'm just going to plant an idea in your head. I mean, would it be crazy if you just put your name on the ballot to run for city council? I don't know.
You're a little quiet.
You want to talk outside the box? I've done it.
You're not the
Let me
first
tell you,
person
I've
to
done
talk
it.
to me about jumping into politics.
Might get elected.
You might get elected. That's the problem. I almost got elected, and I had to backpedal. True story. You could ask Jeff, because they only paid Claremont City Council members like $1,000 a month, and then everyone's bitching at me about their problems, and all they want to care about, are you selling or not, right?
Right.
And then I had to literally stop the campaigns, but I know wealthy people that'll back your campaign. But It's another way to get your name out there if you want to get creative. But then you'd be going against the big money, and they might want to squash Mr. Huntington Beach, so it might not be a good idea. But Mr. Fresno, you can't really fuck with him because he won the Purple Heart. He's a sheriff. He's jacked. And I can see him putting his name on the ballot, and people will be like, oh, but then he might become the mayor. That's the problem. Then his home sales would decrease. But the key is just getting your name on the ballot, and all the reporters would have to interview you. And it's a way to get your name out there, you know?
I actually was asked that. I've had quite a few people messaging me lately because of the photos and the stuff on my social media if I was going to be running.
See, if you want to hit another angle, you know, fuck it. Just throw mayor of Fresno in the spin reel, you know? But it's possible. Like, literally, I'm telling you, I've gone down that road and it actually paid off dividends. You could ask Jeff, and I've been getting listings for years down the line because they're like, hey, I voted for you in city council. And I'm like, well, if you voted for me, I'm probably sure I could sell your house for you. They're like, yeah, come on over. Because it just, you know. So, I mean, there's a lot of, but with Mr. Fresno's video, I'm excited to see it because, you know, maybe we just throw that video on the ballot for city council. You know, it'll just be a dream big. Look at Mr. Fresno just leveraged Mr. Fresno. He just got out of a relationship and he's got a beautiful new Latina girlfriend. You can throw
she did say Mr. Fresno's hot, and she calls me Mr. Fresno all the time. I'm like, it's a little weird.
So you can run with it a lot of. I know we're just having fun with it, but all I'm saying is, yeah, you know, I like the way we're thinking. And the beauty with the brand is the designation. I mean, you can leverage it in a whole lot of ways, but just make sure it eventually makes you money and promotes conversations about real estate in your business. So, you know, have fun with it. And basically you're like the unofficial mayor after enough time passes. And if you do your digital version of your bulletin right, maybe you could just go and start influencing local politics, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see also jumping into city council meetings and just for whatever hearings there are, just because once you put your name in the record, then it's public information. So like a public hearing, I think that's a good idea.
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of angles, but the key is you just want to get your name out there in a credible, trustworthy way. And, you know, the field of politics is pretty brutal, but just have fun with it. I would first start out by all these indirect vendors in our industry, you know, these escrow, title, lenders, all this fun stuff, and just figure out, you know, hey, how can we shoot? Why don't you do the cash offer keyword like these investors? We haven't even thought of that.
Yeah.
Damn it, Conrad. Cash
offer.
offer.
It's on the list.
Cash offer.
Is that on the list?
Yeah, it says Fresno cash. There was a bunch of them. Because I just, like I said, I was going through them all and entering them so I could see where I rank on a bunch of these. I know sometimes.
I guess maybe use let me buy your house or let me. I don't know, all those bandit signs that are everywhere.
Correct. They do. Well, we need to do that digitally.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do, Conrad, is just write down, like, who are the vendors in our industry? We got the cash investors. Shit, remember my cash investor dropped 10 grand on my last bulletin to be able to have the first option to make a cash offer? Well, shit, I'm doing another one right now in Claremont. There's a lot of people like that. I want the cash offer on my home. And the investor, you know, I'm literally saying, hey, you know, you want the phone to keep ringing. You know, I need another $10,000 check sent to the print company. Right? You know, all these genius ideas. Hang on, I got this. I got like a homeowner texting me, wanting to sell their home in Claremont. I wonder how this one flew in here. Okay. But no, I like this. Okay. All these leads are coming in. Okay. You know, I like the way we're going with this. So let's just think maybe Conrad, And George, write down who are the vendors in our industry. I don't care if it's, think about it, termite companies, escrow, lender, farmers insurance, transaction coordinator, refinance, attorney, bucket, attorney, probate. You know, these old ass attorneys aren't spent, they're nowhere near our level of SEO, right? If we could start controlling the flow of business of everyone in our solar, like Mr. Fontana,
Roofer.
and figure out like what are they actually searching. And if you send it to SEO and have them plug it into SEMrush specific to your city and get the data on those keywords, and we start going for them, and Mr. Fresno, keep going through that list and figure out these little ones that are easy to dominate internationally. And it's just about consistently ranking high for those keywords. And, you know, your phone will be ringing and it'll just really transpire into a lot of listings if we do it right.
Yeah, because I mean, you have pest companies and stuff like that as well, termites,
Yeah, the termite pest control, that's big money.
home inspections.
Because a lot of people want to do, you know, termite work and do an inspection on their home before they sell. So why don't we just, you know, basically man up and dominate all the vendors in our industry, because we now know they perceive the designation as a conglomerate that is credible to point them in any direction.
Right.
Yeah, remodeling, stuff like that as well.
Yeah, contractors, right? Maybe they
Plumbers,
want to fix up their
electrician,
home.
HVAC rep.
Anything dealing with housing. I mean, there's so many vendors, but the beauty with us, what makes it different is our designation. They perceive us as something just massive.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Think about it. Like, you could open up a lending firm and a commercial real estate firm if you dominate the keyword in your city. That's it. It's funny, this appraiser, she always just is blown away. How do you get all these appraisal leads? Like da 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 da, right? And she just keeps going on and on and on. But you know, I don't tell her how, but I tell her if anyone's thinking of selling, you want them to keep coming, you better tell them about me, right?
Right.
These are good keynotes. So you guys do your homework on that. Us four, we're going to think about it, because Mr. Fresno, Mr. Fontana, and Mr. Claremont, we all have the same VA. And he's got a huge team of VAs behind him. And let's think outside of the box on what would be the best keywords for these list of vendors that people, you know, contact to get services prior to them eventually selling. Let's figure out what those are. And then for the spin reel and for the blogs on our local blogs, we get 4 a month. Let's have all the content in those blogs dedicated to those keywords and see how quickly we could dominate them and what happens. And then I'm going to, you know, give clear instructions on the digital version of the bulletin and just be ready to spearhead 2024.
Hey, Anthony, do our VAs, are they going to automatically post those blogs, or do we need to let them know to do that?
It's already happening for you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you want to own a keyword, what we're talking about doing, it's really simple. 4 of the blogs out of the 25 that get posted on Miss Fontana Real Estate are all the keywords, you know, that George just listed, all real estate. But if you wanted to dominate, you know, solar companies, it's about doing metadata infusions with the keyword solar company into the photos you launch in the MLS and all social platforms. And then it's also having blogs about having the keyword solar and talking about Fontana real estate. You see what I'm saying? So if you tell the blog writer, which is web development, you just email her, web development, webdev at designated local expert. Hey, for Miss Fontana real estate, I want one of the blogs per month to be just talk about solar. You know, solar companies in Fontana. No fucking agent's doing that. You do that and a few metadata infusions and get it out there, you'll be slammed to the top. No one else is talking about it. But let's get really clear and concise before you do that. send it to your VA Moz and say, hey, run this keyword through SEMrush. Write that down, SEMrush. How competitive is this? How many people are searching for it? And he'll let you know.
How do you spell that? SEMrush.
SEMRUSH. The network bought this subscription for them so they could, you know.
Do their thing.
Yeah. Because guys, this is really big money. So I'm glad we're having these conversations. You know, but let's figure out, you know, we already know, like, for example, like we know what our competition is doing on local service ads. They're going for city name realtors, real estate agent, real estate broker, the big ones. But it's, we could quickly dominate, you know, these indirect ones. And then once we dominate all those, you'll just bleed across. And Miss Mission Viejo has done it. She stayed consistent with all her postings. But now once you have a VA, they'll do the consistency for you and you'll be there. Because they do it for me. They're doing it for other members and they're getting slammed to the top quickly. Mr. Huntington Beach, Google Irvine real estate. Do you see Mr. Irvine anywhere on the maps? Because he just started with RVA, you know, the monthly posting. He didn't exist anywhere on anything. And he just connected his landing page about a month ago. And I think we got him in the top 3. Maybe do it from your iPhone or desktop because you searching, Conrad? You see anything?
Yeah, he's number 5 on my search.
Well, there you go. He literally didn't exist and connected the DLE landing page, and he's having a VA consistently post. Look at how fast he climbed. Not even within a month. That's crazy. You see that there? He's a service area. He literally connected the DLE landing page not even a month ago, and he just got his reviews. But that's how powerful we are now. I've got it wired up that way. And once he's number 1 for Irvine real estate, it's going to bleed across quickly. You see? So listen, team, I've got to throw on the Mr. Claremont hat because I'm launching, you know, multiple listings right now. And, you know, I got to do my thing. But this was so fun. I love this mastermind we just had. You guys clearly know what you need to do, and let's reconnect within a week or 2, and we'll play it by ear, and I'll do a nice post in the group about the magazine, and we'll take it from there, okay?
Yeah, do you want me to put the post on the vendors?
Yeah, post on the vendors.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just throw them out there, and let's get everyone brainstorming on these indirect keywords that we're going to dominate.
Sounds great. Okay.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
all right, guys. Great seeing you. Okay, talk soon.